Risen from the ashes to school the masses. Hello everyone, welcome to another edition of the Scholars of Wrestling Show, episode 128. I am your man up behind the microphone, Scholar Jeff. To my right is Scholar Tarek.
Heatwave, oi! This is my island in the sun, oi, oi!
What?
Summer. It's still summer. We're reaching the end of summer, but it's still summer.
Aha.
It's still the hangover from Summerslam Weekend.
Oh yes, and wow, there was a lot of stuff happening.
It's a lot to talk about when it comes to SummerSlam.
So even though our third partner in crime, Brian, is out on assignment this week, we still got a lot to cover, so let's dive right into it with a little bit of Backstage news.
Indeed. Starting the show how we always start the show, by peeking behind that curtain and checking in on a little Backstage news. Don't say it.
I'm not saying nothing.
Done. Okay, moving on.
Moving on. Of course, you know me. I love the Cruiserweight Classic. I think we all do at this point.
Oh, we're definitely in love with the Cruiserweight Classic, but I actually have a very funny story to tell talking about the Cruiserweight Classic.
What's that?
Or more specifically, the WWE Network.
Oh.
I didn't watch the Cruiserweight Classic all on account of the WWE Network, or specifically the WWE, canceling my network. Not a joke. It wasn't me who canceled it. WWE says, I tried watching the Cruiserweight Classic yesterday, and it says, your account has been suspended. Have a nice day. I was just like, wait, what?
How does that even happen?
I don't know. But it just says your account is unavailable, blah, blah, blah. I tried calling customer service. I got nothing but a machine. I don't know what's going on, but I guess I'm just going to have to resubscribe, get a new free month. Hey, that's one positive way to look at it.
Oh, there is.
But yeah, I had to miss the Cruiserweight Classic this week. Again! Keep missing these damn things. There's always some reason. So what happened this week?
Well, another crop full of really great matches. Not quite to the same quality as Ibushi, Cedric Alexander, but still definitely up there. First off, we had Rich Swann going over Lince Dorado, which I was a little disappointed of because I actually have met Lince Dorado in person before at an indie show, and he's really, really good. So I was kind of pulling for him to do decently well.
Is he signed on to the Cruiserweight division?
I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure.
They should put out a list, or maybe do they already have a list of all the confirmed signed Cruiserweights?
Not published, but I imagine that from what we saw on SmackDown, we're probably going to get on Raw.
On Raw, yeah.
Wow, I'm still learning the flow of this. But yeah, from what we saw, my impression is that they're going to slowly be unveiling the full roster. Like they're going to reveal like maybe 3 or 4 every single week.
Oh, really? Until the 19th when they announce that the Cruiserweight division will start?
Yeah, that's not like an exclusive or anything. I don't have any sort of insider information. Mm-hmm. That's just the impression I got the first time I saw the little preview for the Cruiserweight division. That's what I imagine that this whole thing is going to be. Like a side effect of the Cruiserweight Classic will be just to sort of all at once bring all these new wrestlers to the public fan consciousness.
I wonder how they're actually going to do this. Are they like going to give them like a half hour of Raw time, or are they just going to spread them out? Like this Cruiserweight division match in
pretty
between
much.
Something.
That's my guess.
Okay.
But hey, even after that is all we get, I would love it as just like, even if it was just like a throwback to the WCW days, where you just had like random Cruiserweight matches interspersed between the show. I used to love that growing up. Mm-hmm. That was like one of my favorite points of the show.
You were more the WCW guy than I was, so you're actually used to this Cruiserweight.
I cut my teeth on the Cruiserweights in the Cruiserweight division back in the day. So it was almost like a really fun little blend of... it's almost made like a wrestling style variety show in a way. Like you've got the men's roster, you've got the Cruiserweight roster, you got the women's roster. Honestly, this looks really promising. But again, I could preach about that for a while.
It's actually funny. I have my own personal kind of, I guess, sort of grudge, but it's not against the division itself. It's just what they have in store for it. But I'm going to save that actually later in the episode when it comes to a specific topic.
Okay. In the meantime, also on this show, we had TJ Perkins beating Johnny Gargano, which doesn't really shock me too much considering he's tearing it up on NXT right now, so he doesn't really need the rub.
Mm-hmm.
But not for nothing, TJ Perkins also looked really impressive in this match. And so did Zack Sabre Jr., who beat Drew Gulak to move on.
I actually heard this one was the match of this week.
Yeah, he's, again, if you've ever seen Zack Sabre Jr., it was like more of the same from last time.
Mm-hmm.
He was like all submissions all day. He looks like this little British wiry guy who just like crawls on you and just like knows like a dozen plus different ways to make every body part hurt.
That sounds so weird how you said that. He'll climb on your body and make every body part hurt.
Hey, that's on you, man.
That's how you're wording it, man. You're just kind of weird.
You just have a perverted mind.
Yeah, that too.
But anyway, just so basically we now have the top 8 for the Cruiserweight Classic. So I'm not sure how they're going to run this, but I imagine they're going to run the top these next 4 matches maybe next week, and then the week after they're going to do the Cruiserweight Classic.
Probably.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But anyway, the matches we have to go for, just going off of this bracket, are Akira Tozawa versus Grand Metalik, Zack Sabre Jr. versus Noam Dar, TJ Perkins versus Rich Swann, and Brian Kendrick versus Kota Ibushi.
I must say, though, I don't know if... I think they unveiled it at NXT TakeOver.
The trophy,
That trophy was beautiful.
It was a little simple looking in my mind, but you know what? That's exactly what it needed to be.
It needed to be. And honestly, I was just looking at it, I'm like, damn, that is one good looking trophy.
Mm-hmm.
Simple, yet effective.
Mm-hmm. I like it. It sort of adds to that very indie-tastic yet prestigious feel that you see from a lot of stuff from like New Japan, where the winners of a major tournament always get some sort of major trophy or something like that.
Is this going to be a yearly thing like what they did with, like they're doing with the Andretta Memorial Battle Royal, where they just have the name of each winner of each year?
I don't know. I'm guessing that it just looking at the design, I didn't get that impression. If anything, I can see it being like the Super Bowl trophy, where it's just like a thing that, or a copy of it that each team gets, or however that works. It's not like the Stanley Cup where every team's name gets engraved. But even if that is it, because right now I don't think even the WWE knows what they want to do with this just yet.
It's very successful. I'll be shocked if they decide this is a one-time deal.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a one-time deal.
Neither do I.
I'm just not totally convinced that it's going to be like a yearly affair, because it seems like a very big undertaking. I'm not sure if it's going to have to, since it wouldn't be quite as new, and there's only so many good, really world-class cruiserweights in the world. I'm not convinced that. I am convinced it's going to happen again. I'm just not convinced it's going to be next year.
I can see all the
big guys. All the big guys that they really, really want to feature again, they'll just come right back and they're automatically going to be signed and join the cruiserweight division on Raw.
I could see them doing like once every couple of years, like maybe 2, maybe 3,
as more cruiserweights make their appearance.
Yeah, exactly. I could see that working.
Okay, small scholars quick talk question.
There you go.
If you're gonna bring someone in for the Cruiserweight Classic next year or the next time, who would it be?
Let me see.
It's a tough question.
It is a very tough question. I didn't want to leave it dead silent here.
I know, yeah. But it's a good question to ask, because that's kind of my point about running it next year. Like, how many other major cruiserweights come to mind that would really be a good fit? It seems like most of the big international names have already come through here for the most part. Excuse me, I had to take a swig of water. But yeah, I'm not sure. plus, I'm not sure how exactly big some of these guys are, or small, if they're in the cruiserweight limit.
Puns.
Yeah. Well, the only thing I can think of is were the Briscoes cruiserweights at one point? Because I want to say maybe they were.
I don't think they were. It's possible, but that's a good question. I honestly don't think they were they were cruiserweights. I think they were just above it.
Yeah.
I mean, they can lose some weight and do it possibly.
Outside of those guys, there's only two names that really come to mind right out of the gate, and the first one being Jay Lethal.
Ooh.
Except he's he's kind of a big name, so I'm not sure if they would be able to get him, or if Jay Lethal would even be interested in something like that.
Shark Boy.
I think didn't Shark Boy retire?
I don't know. I haven't heard anything about Shark Boy in years. Seriously, I haven't heard a thing about it.
I think that's because he was sort of looking at retirement for a while.
Was he?
Last I heard, yeah.
Yeah. I liked Shark Boy, but it's not the end of the world for me if he retired.
Yeah, and there's only really one other personality I just heard of that might be a good enough fit. That I'm not sure if he's a cruiserweight. He might actually be. Have you heard of Dalton Castle?
The name rings a bell.
Yeah, he started off in Chikara and they moved over to Ring of Honor. He's sort of a very
the name definitely does ring a bell.
Yeah, if you saw a picture of him, I guarantee you, he's got like a very sort of outlandish 80s glam rock vibe to him. I just saw him work for the first time today and I was like, okay, this guy's amazing. Here, I just brought up a picture.
Okay, I recognize him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't forget a face like that.
Oh, you don't.
And when I first saw him talk, I'm like, this guy would be a perfect fit. I actually saw like Sam Roberts actually did a interview with him, and apparently he was an athletic guy who was also big into like drama and just like the entertainment aspect of it. So it was like, okay, why is this guy not doing this kind of thing?
He would, with what you're telling me, he would be a perfect fit in like the cruiserweight division if he's so full of the entertainment aspect of it.
Yeah, because he looks around like he could be comparable to Kota Ibushi, and Kota Ibushi's size is one where if he packs on a little bit muscle, he can go into the heavyweight division, or if he just sort of cuts weight, he can qualify for that. He can sort of do whatever the heck he wants. So, hey, it's just a matter of getting him on the radar, and then we'll see how it goes. But yeah, the Cruiserweight Classic, it's really heating up. It's really looking exciting. And, yeah, I can't wait to see where this goes until we get to the final two.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Do you think they're going to save the finals for maybe, like, an actual WWE show?
That's my guess. Obviously, I can't confirm anything yet by any means. But, yeah.
If anything, I could see...
I would love to do that on, like, a pay-per-view night.
I kind of think either they'll do it like a special event where they just have the two, like some of the matches, whatever matches are left, and then the finals are the main event. But I can also see them doing it at the Raw exclusive event.
That's what I was about to say. The Raw exclusive pay-per-view, I can see it happening.
I mean,
definitely.
Yeah, they're getting the Cruiserweight division, so it actually makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. In the meantime, we all had an NXT TakeOver show, didn't we?
We did. Let's start off Summerslam Weekend with the show, in my opinion, that stole the weekend with NXT.
By far.
With NXT TakeOver Brooklyn.
2. Brooklyn. By the way, speaking of Brooklyn, apparently someone just pointed this out to me. Crime Time's original announcer, the one that told us to pop a 40 and check our rollies.
Yeah.
Is the same guy who does Eva Marie's entrance.
I knew that voice sounded familiar.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute.
I am not joking. I knew that voice sounded familiar. I'm like, they've used this guy before. I just can't figure it out what.
Mm-hmm.
Really? Crime Time? That is hilarious.
What? Hey, we'll that's just a little side. I'm digressing here.
That's a good little side note. I mean, you kind of threw it in with your Brooklyn.
I just sort of fell over it. Yeah.
It fit.
Anyway, first match right out of the gate, that was televised anyway, we had Austin Aries beating No Way Jose, which sort of caught me by surprise until, I mean, no, for nothing.
It didn't catch me by surprise.
I like what No Way Jose did here. He's looking really strong. He's got like that savage edge, even though he's got this sort of party guy character. And not to mention, I just like No Way Jose. So I was a little bummed when he lost, but then what happened afterwards was just the perfect setup.
Now this is the time where I wish Brian was here, where you bring out Hideo Itami. I guess I'll just fill in for him. Kojima! But yes, I liked the match. I was rooting for Austin Aries on this one, just because I like him a lot. He was one thing that I actually thought was worth watching on Impact, TNA, whatever the hell they want to be called these days. And yes, it was a very good match. I liked what No Way Jose shown. It shows that he actually is a legit star. I like that he actually showed up. Like, the match ended with him with a busted up lip or something. His mouth was definitely bloody.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
And I was like, you know what? It showed he went through hell with Austin Aries, and Austin Aries made him look good.
Mm-hmm. He absolutely did, even in loss.
And
then Hideo Itami showed up.
And the crowd went nuts with the Go to Sleep.
Yes, the original OG Go to Sleep. Oh, man, so glorious.
Speaking of glorious...
Do we want... I swear I did not plan that.
No, you may not have planned it, but it has to be brought up.
Okay, let's just jump right to that now. Bobby Roode defeated Andrade Almas, whatever his name is.
The at the time undefeated. Mm-hmm. At least that's how they were promoting it. But
which is a good way to promote it, to be fair.
Yes, it was a very good way to promote it. But you had Bobby Roode just come down on that little
descend from the heavens
with glorious. You got all of Brooklyn. Brooklyn. You have all of Brooklyn singing along, glorious. I will defend till I'm victorious.
And you could see Bobby Roode is like cracking like the biggest, cheesiest smile in the world.
He was trying so hard to keep that heel persona in, to keep that heel face going. But seriously, I don't blame him. You can't. When you were having all of Brooklyn singing their theme song, even throughout the match, which happened again in the main event, but we'll get to that. Mm-hmm. It was just so good. I loved every second of it. I was singing along too.
Yeah, that was just oh man. I felt so good for Bobby Roode in that match. Just all that work finally paying off. And
I actually downloaded his theme song.
Apparently, a lot of other people did too.
Oh yeah, and he wasn't the only theme song I downloaded. That's another hint at the main event. Uh-huh. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But oh my god, it was just a fun match, and well, the match itself was kind of straightforward. It was really the crowd that was actually making the match even more glorious.
Yeah, it's a Brooklyn crowd, and that's honestly one of the big reasons why I love living on the East Coast. Crowds are just so much fun, and they definitely added to the experience to what was already a really, really solid match between two really talented wrestlers.
I won't go all the way with that statement, how it was like the Brooklyn crowd was glorious. But I will say that they were Saturday for TakeOver.
Yeah, they were. A good crowd can complement a good match very, very well. It doesn't overtake it by any means.
Yeah.
But it can add to the atmosphere a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And it did for this match, in my opinion.
It did for the whole event, because this was a good crowd compared to SummerSlam, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Yes, we will. Yes, we will.
But yeah, the crowd was definitely in not only this match, but in the entire event. Mm-hmm. And it had me on the edge of my seat, and this match had me on the edge of my seat because I was going Bobby Roode the entire way. I was like, "Come on, Bobby, do it, Bobby,
do it, dang it, Bobby,
damn it, Bobby, do your thing, baby."
Mm-hmm.
And he did. He won. It was a glorious win.
Oh, yeah.
Glorious!
I'm just really excited for what he does next and how quickly he moves to the main roster. Because they already have a hit with his in-ring performance, and they already have a hit with his music. So they've got to have their eyes on him.
With his character, yeah. You can definitely tell that he is definitely one of Triple H's top projects.
Yeah.
And
he actually looks like a younger Triple H. They both have the similar hair.
I can see that. I can see that to an extent. And from what I've been hearing, that with James Storm leaving Impact and hinting at coming to NXT, people have been saying that they're nervous that they're going to bring Beer Money to NXT. That is not going to be the case.
Yeah,
I don't think Beer Money is coming at all to coming close to WWE. Period. They'll probably hint at it and have a feud between James Storm and Bobby Roode, showing that and throw in the fact that these two had history together, since they like to bring in the independents a lot more. They obviously won't bring up TNA, but they'll definitely bring up how Bobby Roode and James Storm had a history together.
I'm going to make a bold prediction.
Mm-hmm.
As far as NXT is concerned, the Authors of Pain win the tag titles, and Beer Money are going to be the one to team up, albeit briefly, to take them down.
I don't think Beer Money is going to come close to forming.
Yeah.
Like I said,
if they are going to ever reform at any point, albeit briefly, I can see that being the ideal way to do it.
I see them, if they were to form up at any time in WWE, it would have to be on the main roster. I don't see them doing it in NXT. And with how much time and effort they're putting in with Bobby Roode's glorious persona, I just don't see it anytime soon.
That's a fair point.
Like I said, I would love to see them face off each other, because two guys who have been best friends and tag team partners for a long time often make the best feuds.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, look at Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens.
Need you say more?
Yeah, perfect example. Need I say more?
Well, hey, switching gears for just a moment, what'd you think of the debuting Ember Moon defeating Billie Kay?
I had no reaction.
Really? None at all?
I liked her red eyes.
I was going to say, you had to at least have something.
I liked her red eyes. She definitely is a presence. She definitely has a presence. The match itself was just okay.
Yeah, it was just good. It was just good.
It was a lot longer than I was expecting it was going to. I wasn't thinking it was going to be a squash in any sense.
Yeah.
But I definitely thought that Ember Moon would at least get a lot more
alternative, and that's just fine with me.
Yeah, I definitely think that she needs like an actual finishing maneuver, because I guess to an extent I keep thinking about the John Cena stunner. At least this one lands. It landed the first time, but I just have a bad feeling that the move won't land every single time, like how John Cena's bounce off the ring rope stunner.
Yeah, I guess it's just sort of a way to potentially build up drama if they need to, but
yeah, it was still very cool, and I liked it.
Yeah, I'm sold on Ember Moon.
She definitely caught my interest,
mm-hmm.
And like we said on this show many times, when it comes to the first match, you have to make an impact with me for me to be interested in you, and she definitely caught my interest. I can't wait to see where they go from here. I can't wait for the eventual meeting between her and Asuka.
Transition.
Yeah. I knew that was happening, so I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
Let's make this happen.
Yeah.
I'll do it. I'll make it simple for you.
Asuka defeated Bayley in a result that I think we pretty much all saw coming, because this is sort of becoming a thing with NXT now, where when someone's about to move up to the main roster, you can just smell it in the air.
Oh yes, and I think one of us said it in the past month of Scholars that after SummerSlam she will jump up to the main roster.
You know what? It's sort of becoming a thing where pretty much all the singles wrestlers who are coming up these days, all the major singles wrestlers are getting beat by Asian people.
Yeah. You know what?
You lose to an Asian, you move up to the main roster. Congratulations.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here's your prize.
You know what? Actually, really thinking about it, yeah. That's actually right. I could, yeah, 2 names automatically pop in my head. And it probably popped in your head because you thought of the damn statement.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll just leave it at that.
Anyway.
It was a good match.
Yeah, it was definitely a really good farewell for Bayley, which it pretty much already was. And it really made Asuka look like this incredible dominating presence at the risk of making that term sound like ad nauseum. But again, with the exception of what we just talked about, it still sort of left this question in my mind of who can actually take Asuka down. It's clear that to me that Ember Moon is sort of being bred for the role, but
yeah, bred for the role. I just don't see it yet.
Yeah,
she needs more, I guess, time.
Build.
I guess she needs more time in that oven to fully be breaded out.
Bread jokes. Do we just say, wow, we actually just made a bread joke.
Only on Scholars.
Only on Scholars.
Seriously, I like to see a Taz podcast, or hell, a Stone Cold podcast, bring up a bread joke.
Oh, speaking of which, since you brought up Taz, on the way home, did you happen to catch the Taz show on WFAN on the way home?
Unfortunately, I don't listen to Taz show, but I keep hearing great things about it, and I'm planning on just like, you know what, I'm going to listen to this guy eventually.
Well, you actually missed something great on the last episode, because you went live on the air.
Did he pull a bread joke?
He did not pull a bread joke. He did better.
Can't go better than bread. Bread's awesome.
You did.
I'm hungry.
I can tell. But anyway, what he did was he did a live show immediately afterward, just sort of talking about SummerSlam on Sunday.
Oh, okay.
So
he said immediately after. I'm like, after what?
Clarify. This was Sunday night immediately after SummerSlam.
Okay.
So he did a whole big discussion, took calls, did the whole thing. And then it's like, you know what? I'm going to get an expert outside opinion on this. I'm going to call my good friend Joey Styles immediately after the show.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And of course, he called him, and of course, he was asleep, being a mature adult, at like 11:30 at night. So it was like, hey, Joey, it's Taz. Like, I'm asleep. Like, did you watch the pay-per-view? What did you think of the pay-per-view? I fell asleep. This is why we have video on demand these days. He just went on like a 10-minute tirade on Taz. He just now he's just like, Joey Styles is wide awake, and then for some reason he got caught up into a big long rant about how Taz is a horrible driver and nearly died on road trips. And it's just the most incredible thing I've ever heard on live radio in years.
I gotta look this up because they probably
it's
just
gotta be recorded somewhere.
Yeah,
it is amazing.
I'm sure I'll find it off YouTube. Just Taz calls a sleeping Joey Styles.
Oh, man.
That's funny.
That made for one of the best rides home from a pay-per-view viewing party ever. It was great.
That's funny.
Oh, man.
That is hysterical. I gotta listen to this.
Oh, yes.
That's good.
Anyway, glad to see Bayley on Raw. Awesome. All the horsemen are on the main roster.
Horsewomen.
Did I say horsemen?
Yes, you did.
Hey,
there's no
there's
problem
a precedent.
It's perfectly
you know what
fine.
I mean.
I know what you mean, but I still had to correct you.
Yes. But anyway, moving on to what honestly is, in my opinion, the best match of the night and of the weekend.
Of course.
The Revival beating Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa.
Oh my God,
wow.
This tag team match. It was so much fun. So many close calls, and I swear to God, I'm like, yeah, the Revival is possibly losing the tag team titles, even though I did predict them to win. I'm like, oh my God, these guys are actually going to lose. I'm going to lose this prediction. And thank you. Thank you, I got this right.
Yeah, that was honestly keeping me in suspense.
The fact that
great.
it kept me on the edge of my seat going, oh my God, this is good, this is so good. Oh, great match. Great match.
If ever there was a case for tag team wrestling, and by proxy, both of these tag teams together, I mean, I know there were a lot of people out there who weren't totally sold on the Revival. Consider yourselves sold, because the Revival are living up to their name. Tons of little subtle old school psychology things. Like, these guys are just they're main event level talent on any show they're on, and it's just a matter of time before they drop the belts. To just watch, There's going to be an Asian tag team in like the next month.
Now it's probably going to happen. What I like about one thing that I definitely like that definitely caught my attention is the Revival keep bragging about them being the only 2-time NXT tag team champions. I'm like, you know what? I know NXT hasn't been around for a while, but that can't be true. There has to be some other tag team. And so I looked. Think of it. No, yeah. They are the only tag team. Hell, they're the only people in NXT who ever won the titles, any title, twice. There hasn't been more than one NXT champion. There hasn't been more than one NXT women's champion, and they're the only 2-time tag team champions. And I'm like, that's very interesting. Granted, when you win the titles, that's usually when you lose it. That usually it means you're getting called up to the main roster, but it's still like that's actually that's a pretty big deal. I like it.
I know, and these guys definitely
and it gives them something to brag about, which actually makes legit sense.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Yeah, I honestly, I kind of liked these guys before, but now I love the Revival now.
I love the Revival too. Good classic heel tag team.
And Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, even before they started doing their glorious bomb vines, they're just. I'm sold on these guys even before. These guys are like the total package. They're great.
Love those glorious bomb vines. I love every second of them. I watched them when I first watched them. I watched them like over and over and over again. I'm just like, I can't get enough of these. Now I can see why the guys at WellCulture.com did a bunch of King Ross bombs.
Oh man,
because actually it was the King Ross bombs that I saw first. I was like, okay, whoever thought of this is really funny. But then all of a sudden, that's where they got it from. These are even better.
Yeah.
Because they're doing it to Bobby Roode, who's supposed to be this hard ass that you're not supposed to play jokes with. But
and it's just like nodding approvingly.
And it's like, Bobby Roode approves. I'm like, yeah. And every time I'm hearing Glorious, I'm just like,
nod.
I approve. I was like, yes, I'm loving every second of it.
By the way, did you notice he did the little Bobby Roode nod during his entrance?
Yes. I was literally freaking out. I'm like, oh my god, seriously, Bobby Roode should be the number one face right now. He is just so over.
Oh, he's in line for it.
Yes.
So much fun.
I see him taking the title off of Nakamura when he jumps to the main roster.
I'm thinking the same thing.
Granted, I want to see Bobby Roode jump to the main roster just as quickly as Nakamura, but I see Roode taking the title before and he probably won't even have it very long. Not that it's a bad thing. It's just he's just so over and he's so ready. He just needs to win the title to glorify. Oh, I did it. Okay,
it's too easy to do.
It is. It's too easy. You can't do it. And it's not. This is accidental. It's not intentional.
Well, actually, hold that thought because you sort of went there inadvertently. Anyway, we're talking about the main event of this thing. Mm-hmm. Nakamura did beat Samoa Joe. He is the new NXT champion. In an incredible match, it still wasn't quite as exciting as Revival versus Gargano and Ciampa, but it was still a really good match.
It's a different kind of.
Yeah.
This one was definitely more. I guess the real is more story than wrestling, even though the tag team title match, had a plenty of story to go with it.
Mm-hmm.
But this one was focusing more on the story, with them being pretty much the kings of hard hitting.
Mm-hmm.
And my God, did they hit hard.
Mm-hmm.
This was it was a physical match. I loved every second of it. Did Samoa, I heard that Samoa Joe may have injured his jaw at the end. Is it actually something to worry about?
I haven't heard anything new about that. It's not something that a lot of people were making a lot of noise about.
It's something that people were noticing. Because people said that they saw the referees pulling out an X for Samoa Joe, and that's why he had to rush back with all the doctors and the referees. But I haven't heard anything. They just talk about the possibility of him having at least a fractured jaw. But I other than from what happened from all the stuff I'm hearing Sunday, I haven't heard a thing. I haven't heard a peep.
Yeah, he's a Samoan. He can take it.
Yeah. All I have to say is, or have to ask, Samoa Joe will get his rematch. Will that be his main roster match? Like, his main roster send-off?
If he loses, it is.
I think he actually is. I think he's ready to go up to the main roster. I could see him going to SmackDown.
I can see that because they really sort of need a little bit more firepower. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking that Samoa Joe could be exactly what they need.
Granted, I don't want to see another Samoa Joe versus Rhino, but at least Rhino's doing something else. Mm-hmm. But I could definitely see Samoa Joe being kind of like in the position that Rusev is on Raw. Kind of just like that big dominant heel, showing, like, saying he's better than everyone else. I can see him doing something like that for SmackDown.
If on the off chance he actually gets sent to Raw, I can actually see him doing what he did in TNA when he first debuted. Went into the X divisions, just started tearing people around.
I can see.
In this case, he would go to their cruiserweight division once there's reasonably established and just starts destroying people. Until one next level cruiserweight ends up taking him down. Maybe a Kota Ibushi or something like that.
I won't see him going that far, but I do see if he does end up being on Raw, I could see him taking that like angry Samoan persona and using that against Rusev and making it be a feud for the United States Championship.
Hey,
big brutes fighting for the U.S. title. I actually would like.
Yeah, and that's sort of the whole point I was trying to lead into. There's so many ways to use Joe, and they can all work.
Go, Joe!
I love it. And I love this entire show. From front to back, this has to be one of the more entertaining and better, stronger all-around shows that I've seen come out of NXT. Like most NXT shows, they always have at least one sort of match. This one, in my opinion, had none. Even the more average, the lower ranked ones, I guess you could call them, even them, they were, on a lot of other cards, they would be very, very good. So yeah, this would probably be a lead contender for Show of the Year.
I can second that argument. It probably won't be. Like, I still think Dallas may take this one as, like, if it comes to Show of the Year, but this one definitely is a one to keep talking about for years. I do agree with you. There was no real match that had me bored. Mm-hmm. I wasn't bored at all. And from what I've been reading online of reviews of the show, the only real complaint people have had is that there is no P-break matches. Mm-hmm. But to be perfectly honest, I look at that as more of a compliment than a complaint.
Yeah, and plus it's only
that's a positive thing to say for the show. So I'm just like, I loved every second of it, and I'm gonna give it a facial hair rating. I'm gonna go on and just say it's a goat face.
Go easy, 5. Goat face. Yeah.
5 all the way.
5 out of 5 stars.
I really had no complaints. Actually, as soon as I got home, I wanted to watch it again, but I had to go to sleep. I was tired. Sleep. I was tired. I'm a night owl most of the time, but I was just like, you know what? I can't. I want to watch it again, but I was falling asleep while I was driving home. I'm going to bed. Adulting. Plus, I had to get ready for my kid to wake up in the middle of the night.
Like so I said, adulting.
I need to catch some Z's.
While you can get them. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So anyway, that was one night of wrestling for SummerSlam Weekend. So let's dive right into see how exactly the other half went with WWE SummerSlam 2016.
Let's talk about the biggest party of the summer, the number 2 wrestling show.
Emphasis on the number 2.
Oh, really? Wow, you're really gonna go that far, huh?
There was a lot wrong with this, and there's a lot to talk about. So let's just, with a few exceptions,
I will agree with you. There was a lot more wrongs with this show, but like I've seen people say, "Oh, this is the worst show. This is terrible." I'm like, really, guys? This was really worse than WrestleMania?
It wasn't worse than WrestleMania. That was only a half joke in my eyes.
Granted, this is one of the weakest SummerSlams that they've done, but it's not the worst. Like, I've seen a lot worse shows, and like shows in general. Like I said, WrestleMania. Need I say more? Mm-hmm. But let's get right to on this.
There's a lot to talk about this, so let's just machine gun it off.
Because there was a hell of a lot of SummerSlam. Yeah. What was it, 7 hours? 5 hours?
Yeah, it was 7 hours.
Hell, I think WrestleMania was 7 hours.
Yeah, that was just ridiculous. But anyway, there's still a lot of wrestling here, so let's just machine gun them off. If there's something we really need to bring up, we will. But anyway, on the pre-show, we had Sheamus beating Cesaro in the first of 7 matches series. I know you had a little bit of feedback on this since you like Cesaro.
Oh, please. I love Cesaro. He has my heart. And my penis.
No homo?
No homo. In the most heterosexual way possible. But the only real complaint I had with this match is just the whole best of 7 thing in general is, what do either of these guys get out of it? It was a great match. I had no complaints with it. Cesaro and Sheamus are great workers. I understand to an extent the people hate on Sheamus, but it's, for me, when it comes to the hate, it's just because he's a heel and you're supposed to boo him. And that promo he had on Monday Night Raw was just awesome. It's just like that's why he's won almost everything in WWE. Like literally almost everything. I just think he needs a tag team title win. Or at least when it comes to the original formula. Mm-hmm. I just realized, I'm like, oh yeah, there's a brand split now, so now there's different rules for the Grand Slam champion, or in this case, the Brand Slam champion. Say that 3 times fast.
No.
Exactly. Hell, it was difficult for me to say it once. The Brand Slam champion. There. Say that now. Now say that 5 times fast.
No.
But yeah, the only real question is, once this best of 7 is over, are the winner of this series of matches going to get anything out of it?
I think it depends on what happens during that series of 7 matches. I think these guys are both talented enough to tell a story over a series of matches, not just one. Mm-hmm. So, again, if we're going to get one of these a week, there's certainly a lot that they can do to sort of, in between matches, sort of build us up and maybe take it to another level.
It was very weird that they did a break. They didn't have one this past week. It's like, oh yeah, the number 2 match is next week. I'm like, what, are they going to do this every other week now? Or are they going to, like, this is just...
when they feel like it.
When they feel like it, seriously. What was I just about to say? Hopefully these guys get some kind of title shot at the end of it, and then hopefully this will elevate them to being something, worth something. Granted, these guys are worth something now, in my opinion. I like both guys, one more than the other, but I still like them. I like that they're actually doing something with them, but there's got to be some kind of payoff.
I think there will be. It's just this is the first match of the series.
Mm-hmm. $10. One of them's going to end in a count out.
I can see that happening.
And now that'll be one that Sheamus wins. Like Cesaro's just going to miss it at the very last second.
Again, this is a fun opportunity to at least check out a few different opportunities for storytelling or results, stuff you don't normally see. But I'm convinced it'll be good. It's just a matter of just going along for the ride until it hits.
Mm-hmm.
In the meantime, on the actual show, we had Jericho defeating Enzo and Cass in what I can only describe as the first of several surprises.
What did I tell you and Brian? Hell, what did I tell the whole internet wrestling community? Because everybody was convinced that Enzo and Cass was going to win this one. I knew it. I knew it from the get-go. When it comes to WWE booking, the hometown hero normally loses. But I will say, I'm not mad. Would I have been happy if Enzo and Cass won? Absolutely. I love Enzo and Cass. But I'm with some predictions, I'm not going to specify who, they said that Enzo and Cass needed to win this match. And I'm just looking, I'm like, do they really need to? This won't hurt them.
And it's, again, they looked strong in defeat, but
they looked strong in the match.
It wasn't a necessity. It was just
they were facing against a former world champion in Jericho and a future world champion in Kevin Owens. Honestly, I'm not surprised because they were like it's a tag team facing two big name stars. It's nothing against Enzo and Cass, like I said, but yeah, this match, it didn't hurt. The loss doesn't hurt them. If they were losing to someone like the Ascension, yes, then I will make that argument that yes, this loss hurts them big. But it's losing against two guys like Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens, and of course me being like filling in my big ego, which normally I don't do, but I kind of like to rub it in because when it comes to predictions, I'm kind of kicking ass out of the three of us. I wish I brought my world heavyweight title just to rub it in your face some more. Be like, yeah, that's right. When it comes to predictions, I know what I'm talking about.
You know what? Sometimes when you get when you just land it like that, I'm a big believer in. You know what? Enjoy your victory.
I definitely am. And even though it was just this match alone that got me the victory, I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take it and just run with it. It makes me wish that Brian was here, so I'll be like, huh?
You were
Brian?
wrong.
Huh, Brian? Are you sad? Well, guess what? Boo-hoo, I win. Ha ha ha. Now I take that douche card away from you for tonight.
Speaking of douche cards, I think we need to address Charlotte beating Sasha Banks for the women's title.
This is the biggest shocker of the night for me.
Yeah, it was like, whoa, wait, what? I was just like, this already happened. Why?
I will say, like, apparently it's stemming from Sasha Banks actually requesting time off. Probably just because she recently got married and she's going to be leaving on her honeymoon or injury, or there's so many different reasons why she requested off.
Great for her. By all means, Mazel Tov. But in the moment, I was like, wait, well, we didn't know any of this, so we're like, wait, huh?
But I will say, from what I've been reading, this match is exactly how they wanted it to go.
Huh.
Like, the big spot that had Sasha Banks land on her head when I don't even know what the hell they were trying to do when Charlotte had her up and then all of a sudden she just dropped her. I thought that was just some big botch.
I think we all did.
Yeah, I'm sure the whole world did, but from what I've been reading, that was exactly how it was supposed to go. And it looked, from how I've been seeing the match, I'm like, wow, normally from Charlotte and Sasha Banks, this match is very sloppy.
Huh.
But it's all stemming from the fact that Sasha Banks is selling on the fact that she, quote, quote, she really did, but selling the injury of her landing on her head. Although I will have to say that one spot where Charlotte had her lifted up and Charlotte fell, that I think was a botch. That I think actually was a legit botch.
Mm-hmm.
But seriously though, it was I guess if I had to explain it in one word, it was brutal.
Yeah, and it was just full of surprises, and it's just, ugh.
Seriously though, that drop, that when Sasha Banks she dropped on her head, that scared the hell out of me.
I know, it sort of scared everyone all at once too.
And I'm just like, seriously, Sasha, stop landing on your goddamn head. Do you actually want to have a long career? Come on. Don't. Oh my God, it was crazy.
Speaking of wanting to have a long career, Miz beat Apollo Crews.
Yeah. No one saw that. Everyone saw that coming. No one was surprised.
Yeah, well, what I don't think a lot of us saw coming was the complete diatribe that the Miz went off on Daniel Bryan about after SmackDown.
On Talking Smack. Oh my God, I loved it. I loved every second of it.
Yeah.
Seriously, this was one of the Miz's best shoot. Well, quote shoot, because it actually was revealed to be a work. But
it seemed like a work shoot. Like it was definitely a work.
It was definitely.
It was rooted so much in reality in the Miz's own frustrations that it couldn't help but sort of.
Oh my God! I'm after watching it, I stood up and applauded him because I'm just like, he is absolutely right. He keeps taking so much shit from everyone. Yes, he has been around for 10 years. He has been getting better than what he did when he debuted in 2004. He was so much better than what he did when he was tag team with Morrison. He is a completely different guy, and I'm going to stand by it. This Intercontinental title reign is his best title reign, period. Better than his WWE title run. Yes, he main evented WrestleMania, but he was the third wheel when it came to John Cena and The Rock. But still, like, with CM Punk bitching about that too, he has earned his spot in WWE as a legit wrestling WWE superstar. And I will forever be a Miz head. I love The Miz. And hopefully this promo that he did with Daniel Bryan helps lead him to help really make the Intercontinental Champion a big deal on SmackDown.
After that promo, I think it will.
Because, this whole build for SummerSlam, I've been complaining about it, was shit. Hell, the whole joke of says, "Oh, your name is Apollo Creed." No, my name is Apollo Crews. That's what I've been saying. Your name's Apollo Creed. Crews, man, Crews. Nothing against Crews, but I still feel like
weak.
It was very weak. The feud was weak. Hopefully now we can get one thing I like what they're doing with the United States Championship is they're actually having legit big names fight for it. We need something like this for the Intercontinental Championship. Apollo Crews, you can't have someone, a noob like Apollo Crews, going after something as prestigious as the Intercontinental Championship. And I'm not just saying that as a Intercontinental Championship fanboy. The title means something. Mm-hmm. And having someone like Apollo Crews winning it would just do nothing but hurt it.
Yeah, it's not his time.
Miz needs a legit star fighting for that title. And the perfect example was when that Fatal 4-Way. That was the perfect example of an Intercontinental title match. That match stole the show.
And then some.
What event was it again?
Was that Battleground? No.
I think it was. I'm having a brain fart on it,
yeah,
but I think it was
Battleground.
We're going to look that up, yeah. But yeah, we need a legit name fighting for the Intercontinental Championship.
Well, speaking of legit names, we did have AJ Styles defeating John Cena.
Clean as it needed to be.
And it was right as it needed to be. It was perfect.
This was match of the night. Hands down, in my opinion.
You know what? I'll second that. Because looking at the rest of the card, I cannot disagree with you.
Yeah, because seriously, this match had me on the edge of my seat, and it had a lot of people on the edge of the seat. You included, because we watched the show together.
Yes.
Oh my God. And now AJ Styles is now in the right position, now going for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship or World Championship or Championship, whatever the hell they want to call it these days. The belt. The big belt. There we go. He's now fighting Dean Ambrose. And a great match that him and Dolph Ziggler had on SmackDown to earn that spot. What more else can you say? This is like everything that they're doing on SmackDown, they're doing it perfectly. And that's all I got to say for right now. But we'll save that.
There's a lot to talk about.
We'll save that again. We'll save that for later in the show. I just keep saving shit for the later in the show.
There's too much. We gotta keep rolling. Anyway, speaking of the boys in the Bullet Club, the club defeated the New Day via DQ. I really don't have too much just to go into here.
I was very disappointed in this match.
Is it because it involved Jon Stewart?
Okay, I love Jon Stewart. Something about it just didn't feel right. I felt like he just wasn't there. He was kind of
going through the motions.
Like last year, he felt more like a wrestling fan, wanting to be there. Maybe it was because he was involved with the main event or with a main event. I don't know. But he just felt uncomfortable. He looked uncomfortable. And he just felt like, okay, this is not exactly how I was in one of the main events last year. This is kind of a downgrade for me. He's not trying to be like, oh, I'm an egotistical man who has to be in the main event and all the times I show up. But he just felt like he just wasn't invested in this. I think the only time he really felt invested is when he tucked his shirt in when he saw that the club was going to give him ring postitis.
Yeah, it's not exactly the biggest or the best performance out of him, but it was.
But yeah,
this was sort of a pee break match for me. At least it felt like that.
It really did, and that's the real disappointing thing because I love the club, I love the New Day. I actually do want to buy Bootios.
I think we all.
I kind of want to buy 2 boxes. One to actually keep as a collectible, and one to eat.
I know, just because even though it costs like 3 times the amount of a regular
it
box
costs
of cereal.
$13. I was like, maybe it'll be $30 well spent, but it'll be like, yeah, maybe in the near future. I'm not rushing to get it anytime soon.
Yeah, neither am I. It's fine.
But when it comes to the match itself, it was just a very blah match, and I just hated the fact that it ended in a DQ. I felt like the club needed to win these tag team titles. They needed it.
Yeah, that's why I'm thinking it'll probably it'll happen. It'll probably just show up or happen at the next big show.
Honestly, I felt like they should have saved that DQ finish for the rematch the next night on Raw. Like, oh my, I'm just not sold. I actually got really pissed. I'm like, this was really the start of my root. Like, Sasha Banks and Charlotte surprised the hell out of me. Did I like the prediction? No, but it was mainly because I got the prediction wrong for the prediction show.
Yeah.
But this one, I was just like, man, I hated this. Look, we got the prediction right, but I wanted them to win the tag belts because now it just hurt. It hurt. It definitely hurt the club not winning the belts.
Yeah, I still say it wasn't ideal, but I still say they can definitely bounce back.
No, they can bounce
out there.
Yeah, but it's just like, do we really need to keep waiting? You feel it's.
I've seen worse. That's the best I can offer.
Honestly, they're just keeping the titles on New Day just so they can go out for the full year. Obviously, they're going to lose in the next title match they have with the club. I mean, they had to win by disqualification. And they made the argument they won, so now they're entitled to their rematch. Which, interesting argument. But yeah, it just left a sour taste in my mouth.
Well, I can't win them all. There's got to be one rough one. Speaking of rough one, I heard a lot of really different opinions on this one. Dean Ambrose beating Dolph Ziggler for the title. What did you think of this one?
I talked to one of our friends about this. I liked the match.
So did I.
I liked all. I like both world title matches. But the difference between the Finn Balor and Seth Rollins match and this one is that it felt like more than for a title match that happens on SmackDown than it happens on SummerSlam. It was a great match. I enjoyed it. The ending was very abrupt.
Yeah.
It didn't have that. It didn't have the big match feel that Finn Balor and Seth Rollins did. Like, the fact that it only took one Dirty Deeds to take down Dolph Ziggler. Like, I just felt like there's just needed to be some big, more of like those close calls. Like, it's a world title match. They're entitled to have the one kick out, each have the one kick out of the finishing move. And it helps. That kind of helps them legit the stars, which is hurt. Like, this loss, in my opinion, kind of hurt Dolph Ziggler. At least his momentum that he was building for this feud.
I don't necessarily agree. I see what you're going for, but then again, I feel like it also can make. It's not that makes Dolph Ziggler, in my eyes, look bad. It's more like the Dirty Deeds has just become that dangerous where it really only takes one to drop most opponents. I get what you're saying where it can hurt him, but that's just not the way I received it.
It's just one of those things, like, the whole feud is just Dean Ambrose pulling out the heel tactic saying you don't have what it takes to get that big moment. And Dolph Ziggler losing like that just proved Dean Ambrose right. And it just shows, oh yeah, Dolph Ziggler just doesn't have what it takes. It just... Another one that just left a sour taste in my mouth. Like I said, this was a WWE title match that was better off on a SmackDown than it was on a SummerSlam. It just didn't have that big match feel to it.
Yeah, it's just because I don't think Dolph Ziggler was properly built up quite enough. He could have been built up more.
The build was great. But it's just, I guess it just needed more time, I guess. Yeah. Like what you were saying. I guess it just needed more time. But really, Dolph definitely landed his mark when it came to the build. But it's like, and he did so good in the match. It was just like that. The finish just happened like that. I'm just like, wait, really? That's how you're ending it?
Yeah.
It just left me like good story, lousy ending.
Yeah, I mean, for all we know, it could have been. Everyone could have been working on a really rough time constraints because there was so much happening on this show. We need to save the time for like the much bigger, more important matches like Becky Lynch and Naomi and Carmella versus Natalya, Alexa Bliss, and a returning Nikki Bella.
I don't know what actually made me angry more. The fact that Nikki Bella came back, or the fact that the WWE thinks we're all stupid and seeing why Eva Marie can't show up for this match.
That, again, I'm still okay with that just because it's so over the top and silly as far as Eva Marie is concerned.
Yes, it's over the top and silly. I get what they're going for. But it's just, you don't insult us like this. We all know why she can't show up. Just, you were honest about it with Roman Reigns. Be honest about it with everyone else who gets a wellness violation.
To me, I was okay with that just because Roman Reigns is sort of being billed as a top guy, and when he sort of, if he's going to be portrayed as a locker room leader in any sense,
yeah,
they kind of need to do that. Or even if they want him to be that,
they want him to be that. He's no way in hell is going to get that.
But Eva Marie is a heel and not exactly a good quality heel at that, so there's a big difference between a main event level talent and Eva Marie. I personally can't compare the two, but at the same time, it's like, it still fell flat for me.
This entire match was flat. This match went on for too goddamn long.
Yeah.
Seriously,
I
even said to you, I'm like, is this match really still going on?
Yeah, honestly, I really don't even remember too much about this match, so I really don't have anything more to say about it.
And we got nothing else to say about it, except we got now a heel Carmella.
Yes.
And a face, they pretty much just pulled a double turn with Nikki Bella because she got that big praise entrance. Screw all of you who are cheering that garbage.
Yeah.
I hate Nikki Bella so much. And now we got Carmella, who no one really gave a shit about. And now they're feuding. Granted, they did the Carmella heel turn as well as just someone who is just frustrated and just says, you know what, screw all this, I'm going to beat the hell out of you.
And you know what? That is something I really welcome with someone like Carmella. It's something fresh.
That Queen of Staten Island thing just wasn't getting over.
Yeah, it was starting. I like her, but even then, it was starting to get a little old.
It only worked when you have Enzo and Cass to work with, and they had it in NXT. But since they're not letting them work together, she can't do it by herself.
But you know who can do it by themselves? Finn Balor, being Seth Rollins, it's become the first ever WWE Universal Champion, which I'm immensely glad for.
We all knew it was going to happen, and like I said, this match had a big feel to it. This match definitely felt like they were fighting for something. Granted, it was fighting for the Universal title, and I've even said it before, and a lot of people are saying it, but I kind of see it for a different reason than what people are saying. I'm not a fan of the design, but different from how people are thinking it looks like crap and like, oh, it's the ugliest thing. It's not the ugliest thing. I like the design for the WWE World Championship. I honestly just prefer an original look, and that's the kind of thing the argument I have when it comes to the new SmackDown Women's title and the new SmackDown Tag Team titles. They're just the same titles, just with different colors.
And you know what? That's the exact reason why I like them, because I always felt that even though they had a different but intended to be equal quality with the original brand split, it's always sort of felt like one was better than the other. To me, like, are you trying to tell me that the WWE title was as good as the World Heavyweight title?
When it was the original brand split, yes. Granted, when they actually got rid of the brand split, it was a completely different story, because we've said it on the show, the world title just became the Intercontinental Championship.
And that's exactly what I'm referring to
here. But you're comparing it when there was no brand split. When there was the brand split, they were carried on equally.
When you had the likes of Randy Orton, exactly what you just described here. The fact that that's, in my eyes, what you just described should never happen if they are meant to be equivalent title belts.
But you're comparing it to two different situations.
So I think I misspoke when I was trying to describe. What you described was what I was trying to describe. I'm not convinced that sort of phenomenon should have ever happened in the first place. And at least to the casual outside observer, yes, the big red belt might look a little bit silly, but to me, it sort of seemed like a necessary step in order to really maintain that balance of equal prestige between the shows.
I understand that. I really do. But I'm going back to like what they did with the original brand split. When you looked at the Raw Tag Team Championships and the SmackDown Tag Team Championships, they look nothing alike, but they had the same prestige. That's what I had with the big gold belt, the World Heavyweight Championship, and the WWE Championship. Those two titles were on the same level when they had the brand split.
But that's the thing. That's my main concern. They didn't stay that way. Yes, the tag belts were sort of left unchanged, but think about the Intercontinental title and the U.S. title. They originally were supposed to be sort of equivalent, but did they really stay that way?
Well, once they brand split, no. And that's going to be the same case once this brand split eventually ends. If it ends, which, who are we kidding? It most likely will.
And you know what? That will be one good thing about keeping the titles very similar, because if they do keep them similar, when they do eventually merge the entire thing back into one again, they can keep the same title design and it'll still maintain that same prestige, and it'll seem like nothing has really been lost.
I don't see it that way. I see it being the exact same situation. The Universal title will eventually become the next it'll basically get downgraded like how the World Heavyweight title eventually got. With these brand split titles, it's just like I said, I understand where you're coming from. I just like to be more creative than that. This isn't creative. This is lazy. This is just being lazy with the titles. I actually have this one particular design that I saw before they officially revealed the Universal title. I'm showing it to you right now.
Yeah, it looks like a throwback to the old little winged eagle belt from the Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, I liked this design. It actually made it feel like a legit title.
Honestly, it looks way better than the current title they've got now. But
it really does. And
but again, since it does look better, it sort of seems like better than the other original SmackDown title that they've got. So it's like that sort of. If this exact discussion that we're having right now is the exact reason why I never wanted the brand split to begin with, just because it seems like there should be some equivalency here, and I'm of the opinion that there should be like one major title to go for, and when you try and make equivalent titles, it almost seems like one of those questions where there's no one right answer, if there is anyone to be found at all. And that's just I don't think there is,
but it's just like it's the opinion about it. It's just how you want to look at it. And like I said, I understand why they did it and why they did it with the women's title and the tag team titles. I just feel like I said, it's just lazy there's no creativity to it. I like them to look different. It's just I like originality with these titles.
I can see that.
That's why I like the big gold belts so much. And when at the time of the original brand, it was the WWE title was the undisputed title. Just it became the WWE Championship. I like that design. There were two completely different looking titles, but they were equal in prestige. And when I understand why they had to split the tag titles. I understand why they had to split the world titles. Granted, I do agree with you that it should have been one world title. But I feel like the one title that should just not be there is a second women's title. I feel like the women's division should be the equivalent of the cruiserweight division. It should be specific to one particular show.
Agreed.
Like I feel maybe like since they want to keep focusing the cruiserweight division for Raw, have the women's division be exclusive to SmackDown. Granted, you'll still have women on Raw, like Lana, but she's not a wrestler; she's a manager. I feel like if women are on the different shows, it'll just because they're managers. But if you want to fight, have them be on one specific brand. That's why I just feel like having two women's titles is just ridiculous. And now that Raw has one more title than SmackDown, and with the cruiserweight division, they're obviously going to make a cruiserweight title. They're going to have two extra belts. That's now reaching the point where there's just too many titles.
And that's the problem.
Granted, if they had one specific women's title for one specific division, for one specific show, they would have equal amount of show. They would have equal amount of titles, and it actually wouldn't hurt them so much because when it comes to one particular title, it's for a specific division. That's. I
feel like we're really digressing here.
This
is a whole other episode.
Yeah. I'm just going to end it with this. As long as they keep one Money in the Bank, just one, no Raw exclusive Money in the Bank, no SmackDown exclusive Money in the Bank, just one. What they originally had planned, one suitcase, he can cash in on either the Universal or World Heavyweight title. It could be a Raw guy or a SmackDown guy. And whatever title they go for, they becomes exclusive to that show.
It would add a little bit of freshness to it for a while. But...
Like, it works with just one. In another way, easy way to look, I look at the Money in the Bank as another title. Especially now that they made it a gold briefcase. And hopefully, like I said, I don't want another Money in the Bank. That's once again, it leads back to the argument of having too many titles.
Too much stuff. It's
too many things.
Please do not even get me started. You're going to get me on another tangent. We're going to be here for 5 hours.
Hell, this is getting me on. This is my tangent.
I know.
This is me standing on your soapbox.
I know. You pushed me off, and you're just ranting again.
All right, here's the soapbox. You can take it back.
All right, I'm going to throw it out the window, and we're just okay.
You have to say that for later. You have to say why'd you throw it out the window?
Because
you have to save it for later.
Because let's take it home already. We're going on for a while here. Rusev versus Roman Reigns. Now this was a pee break match. I was just glad this thing was brief.
It wasn't even a match.
Yeah, it was.
This was another.
Let's fight, whatever.
There's nothing you can say other than it's just, oh yeah, to hell with you, Brooklyn. You think you're gonna get a match? Ha! It meant nothing.
To me, this was a mercy killing. I'm just glad it didn't last.
This was a waste of our time. This one actually got me so pissed. This was actually like throughout from from the from the New Day match on, it was SummerSlam was a sinking ship, and
because the show was too damn long.
Then that's one thing. That's one thing that hurt it. Yes, I agree. The match was.
I was also getting so tired. Long. I was actually glad this match was like a non-starter, because if I didn't really want to see this match. I didn't want to sit through it. I was just like, let's get to the main event and not dilly dally.
This was just
old man
like
terms.
Oh yeah, we were building this whole build up for nothing because we're eventually like, well It's not how they were originally planned. They probably were keeping this feud going, but since what happened with Finn Balor and Seth Rollins, what happened with Finn Balor getting injured and having to relinquish the Universal title, it actually made this match a lot worse, because it eventually shows there was no point to this feud whatsoever.
Pretty much, yeah.
So that was a big middle finger from WWE, and it even became larger when it turned out, yeah, Finn Balor's injured, and now Roman Reigns is possibly getting the Universal title. And I think he actually may get it.
Yeah, I really hope not.
I'm either hoping for Seth Rollins or Kevin Owens on this one, but because I feel like Seth is not going to get it as punishment for injuring Finn Balor.
It's a possibility.
And I hate
a strong possibility now that sort of a pattern is emerging with Seth Rollins. But
God, it sucks that
at the
Bret
same
Hart
time, I'm also not convinced that Roman. I'm not on board with Roman yet either. So.
Give it to Kevin Owens. Done. That's all I got to say. Give the Universal title to Kevin Owens. Reigns and Rollins don't need the belt.
I'm convinced that after hearing what the tentative plans were to include Kevin Owens in the title match picture, I think he's honestly my pick to win. Not just because I enjoy Kevin Owens, but he's my pick.
Oh, he's my pick? I'm just thinking WWE is stupid, which most of the time they are, and will just be like, oh, who cares if the fans will boo it out of the building? Let's give it to Roman. That's pretty much it.
Hope still burns.
Come on, KO. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
In the meantime, let's talk about how badly Randy Orton got beat up by Brock Lesnar.
I was really hoping...
Blood!
Yeah, blood. Shit. Damn, it's like his forehead turned into a faucet. My God, it was...
I was honestly okay with the finish. Just because of how brutal and unexpected it was. It made for good TV in my eyes. I thought it was fine.
I was okay with the finish if there was actually like a good equal match to it. But I just feel like I'm reaching that point where I'm just tired of Brock Lesnar matches.
I've heard that a lot ever since this one. It just sort of like, really drove it home.
I understand, like, oh yeah, he's the guy who broke the streak. He's now this unstoppable force. But my God, it's getting too repetitive. I was throughout the entire week. I didn't say it on the prediction show, but I felt it. I did not want this to be another John Cena Brock Lesnar SummerSlam from 2 years ago. Or was it 2? Yeah, he faced The Undertaker last year, 2 years ago. I didn't want that. And of course, it pretty much was that. Everyone goes off on John Cena about like the whole 5 moves of doom. Brock Lesnar has like 3 moves.
Except I wouldn't say that.
I wouldn't say that to his face either, because the best way to put it is through his mouth. He doesn't give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
But he's never going to meet me. He won't punch me. He won't give me a point where he has to punch me in the face. I'm bored. I'm kind of tired of Brock Lesnar. Have like one up and coming guy beat him and then have him go off into the sunset, because he's just one of those things. Like, yes, I do like the ending too, because it just shows him more of the dominance. But if the match itself was kind of showing them to be on equal grounds, I would have liked it more. But it just was like, okay, now once again it was a whole thing of, what, do we now have to get a Randy Orton return match? Kind of what they did with John Cena about him almost beating Brock Lesnar. It's repetitive storytelling, like, straight up. It's the same thing, same beats, except, well, to an extent, because Brock Lesnar didn't elbow John Cena's head and make it a giant 3 gash on his forehead. My God, you saw the pictures.
I did see the pictures.
It is just, oh my God, 10 staples. God damn. But yeah, it just, once again, it was just like, really, that was it? Granted, we all knew it was going to be the main event, but really, this was your main event? And it just leaves the question, are you even trying anymore, WWE?
Not for a 3 or 4 hour show, not for a length of a show that long. It just, I think it's just nothing can work.
It's just because the difference between like a few years ago and now, they have the network. They have your money. They're not trying to get buy rates for pay-per-views. They're just like, oh, we have our own network. We can do whatever we want. We don't care.
Well, then again, you should care because you can do what I did and go off of consumer confidence. And if the consumer has more confidence, then they'll shut off the network. They don't care.
And yeah, it literally pissed me off. I remember going home and thinking, man, I was gonna give SummerSlam a classic goatee a 3, but the more I kept thinking about it, and the more that from the Club New Day on, it was just a sinking ship. Like, the only real saving grace between that and it was Finn Balor and Seth Rollins. But then it ended up being, I guess, kind of pointless because he eventually gets injured, showing that Seth Rollins, like, proving Bret Hart to an extent right that Seth Rollins is not a safe person to work with. 3 people, 3 top names. One of them, he retired sooner than he was supposed to. 2, he broke the face who runs the place's nose. And now 3, he took one of their up-and-coming guy, the guy who they were supposed to be the top face on Raw, and they injured his shoulder. I love Seth Rollins, but yeah, one thing, two of them are injured because of that goddamn running powerbomb to either the turnbuckle or the barricade. He has to drop that move.
I think it's pretty much a guarantee now. After all this,
at least,
it's a guarantee.
People are saying I see the curb stomp, the danger of the curb stomp, but people have reached the point where people have been doing it, being safe with it. People have been safe with the move, but this is just reckless. Mm-hmm. And Seth Rollins is one of their top guys. He has to get rid of this.
So you said it used to be a 3 out of 5 classic goatee. How would you rate it now?
I give it a 2. Peach fuzz.
Yeah,
because there were still good things on the show, but it left me disappointed. There was a lot more bad. It's how we said it at the top of the show. There were a lot more bads than goods for this one.
Yeah, and I'll second that. Just because it was just so damn long, and it really hurt everything else that was good on the card. So that's my score. In the meantime, from the Scholar's Quick Talk Vault, you had a question for us.
All I have is the one question that I will say every time now, of Raw and SmackDown, which was the better show?
Considering I didn't catch all of SmackDown this week, I confess I'm going to go with Raw.
You're kind of obligated to do that because
I'm a little ill-equipped.
But I did watch both shows.
Thoughts?
And honestly, once again, SmackDown takes it. SmackDown is putting on the better product. Because all the storylines are meaning something. And now what they did with Miz and Daniel Bryan, that's going to lead to something fantastic. And B, they don't have 3 hours. They use the time that they have. Most of the time, the stuff that they have on Raw is just dead space. That segment with Titus O'Neil and Darren Young, oh my God. It was one of the worst things I've seen. And normally Titus O'Neil is very good on the microphone, but he kept flubbing. He kept mixing his words, messing his lines. I'm just like, whoa, Titus, are you just not good as a heel? Because normally when it comes to being a face and actually being a representative of like all the fundraisers, you're very well spoken. You know what you're saying. Even when you did that Susan Komen last year, you were on game. This was just terrible. And of course, Bob Backlund getting power slammed, and then the Titus bomb. And people are chanting, "We want Slater." I don't know who you people are chanting for, but I want Darren Young. I'm like, wow, this is just dead. Raw was and the 4 matches, like you had 7 guys coming to say, "Oh, I want the Universal title," yet you don't use one of them. Enzo comes out and they don't use Enzo; they just use Big Cass. Raw was a mess. Raw was a big mess, and I watched it with our friends, and they were out cold.
Yeah.
And granted, they do fall asleep during shows once in a while, but when they're entertained, they stay awake and watch it. But they were out from like the first hour.
So, in other words, what I'm getting from this entire taping is all of the short shows were the best ones.
Yes. When it comes to
brevity is the soul of good wrestling, I guess.
Hopefully the Cruiserweight division gives them something more to do and help fill in the 3 hours. But as of right now, yeah, they may have like big names and like more star, but damn to it. SmackDown is doing a lot better with what they got.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Hands down. I actually am looking forward to SmackDown more than I am with Raw.
Mm-hmm. I'm starting to shift your way too.
And it just so angers me that the only reason really to watch Raw, like other than Finn Balor, but now that he's gone, is Kevin Owens and Cesaro.
Mm.
And there are people I like. I like Rusev. I like Seth Rollins, but they're just
the pieces are good.
The
but
pieces
the
are good,
but puzzle is not working.
Exactly. You right there, nail on the head.
Mm. So. Yeah, those are our thoughts. We want to know what you think now. It's your turn. We're tagging you in. So, of course, you can always drop us a line by all the usual methods. Leave a comment on this video. If you like what you hear, give us a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to hear more every single week. You can also check us out on Facebook. Just look for the Scholars of Wrestling Show. And, of course, as always, you can also follow us on our Twitters. You can follow us on our main Twitter account at ScholarsOW for all the latest uploads of all our latest videos, and you can also follow us for live tweets for all the big wrestling shows, catch all our thoughts and have us join the conversation on our personal accounts. Fool, where can they reach you?
You can find me at the Avataric,
and you can find me at I'm Robbie Rage. I am Robbie Rage. And for our third partner in crime, you can check him out, Brian, at Atomic Beanpole,
or as he likes to put it, Atomic Beanpole.
Atomic Beanpole. So follow us all, join up in the conversation. It's always a good time, even when the show sucks. The talk is always good.
Oh, yeah, it is.
So, about 5 hours later, we're finally done talking about this week in wrestling. Oh boy, I need a nap. I'm an old man.
I could just keep going.
I know you could.
Seriously, there was so much to talk about. We didn't even talk about... Well, we pretty much talked about the big stuff that needed to be talked about, but goddamn, I wanted to keep going.
Oh, and you will next week when Brian comes back from Namek.
Oh, yeah.
We got this. You already know who we are. We're the Scholars of Wrestling, and you have just been schooled.
You're welcome.
See you when we all get off Namek.
Tomorrow is my wedding anniversary, so if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go home and sleep with my wife. Da-da-da-da-da.